If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the three hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me, of course, is the rookie, Mr. Chris Dashew.
I prefer to be referred to as Bingo the Clown. Or, conversely, Mike, that's what happens. Chinatown. Mike's Chinatown.
I kept waiting for a Chinatown reference.
I was waiting for it too, and there was no goddamn Chinatown reference. A lot of I was gonna say, more Chinese actors in one episode than there have been in a while, but no Chinatown.
Yeah, we did get a reference to Libyan death squads, which I was kind of unfamiliar with.
And nuking the whales.
Oh, yeah. A lot of nuclear stuff in this episode. Well, this run of episodes, because we're talking about 4 episodes of the original Barney Miller, because we're talking about a 2-parter. First off, we're talking about The Clown, which originally aired Thursday, January 21st, 1982. Must-see TV here. After that, we are talking about Chinatown Part 1, which aired February 4th, 1982. Chinatown Part 2, which came out February 11th, 1982. And we're going to wrap this episode with Hunger Strike, which came out February 18th, 1982. You know, I actually went on a hunger strike. I went for about 8 hours without eating. I had a snack before bed, woke up, broke my strike with some breakfast. I hope that my message got across.
Was that I think they have a term for that now. It's called intermittent fasting.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yes.
You go fast intermittent.
Yes. Is that like when I belch? Is that called burpees?
Burpees? Oh my God.
This first episode, The Clown, feels like a very familiar episode. We have some very familiar faces, including the one and only Walter Olkowitz, one of my favorite people since he was on Twin Peaks. He is back. He is not singing about rubber plants this episode, but he is playing a very, well, upbeat, I guess. He's a clown. He's a street clown. And
Is this
gotten
Joker?
mugged.
Is this Joker? Is that what this is? Is this
This is the origin story? Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Just
what
he
I
gets
thought.
beaten up by some toughs. Yes. Yeah. Actually gets beaten up by J.J. Barry, who's back as Arthur Duncan. So I was kind of hoping that it would be like when Arthur Duncan met the character that Olkowitz played before, but no. It's not. And we get the return of Michael Tucci, who is not playing a teenager in this one, thank goodness. Michael Tucci, Michael Alamo, and Jed Mills, I believe, are the three cons that have been released in a very interesting plot by Philip Bruns, who's here as Gordon Kaiser. He's the Kaiser. He's the wrath of God. He's the one who's letting these guys out because they're guilty of minor crimes. And then we've got the return of Howard Platt, who we saw as a gun nut survivalist living in the underground, along with a whole bunch of homeless people, I think, he and his wife. But he's back in this one. And what is his story? He's like a law enforcement guy from Kentucky or something, or Texas?
Yeah, from New Mexico.
New Mexico, thank you.
And he's trying to get Levitt to join because
Trying to get anybody to join.
Well, and then there's the main plot of this episode is the Levitt story and this is a carryover from another episode, which is even more surprising, which is Levitt is not getting the Medal of Honor or Medal of Valor for saving the life of the child a couple episodes back when he like broke his arm jumping out. Was he jumping out of a building or jumping out of a window or something?
Yeah, he like was on I want to say it was a long piece of wood, and he ended up doing this amazing flip and all these things, because you only hear about it, you never see it. But
right.
And then we see the aftermath, and then we see those weirdos that he was getting to give him testimonials a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but so now he's not getting the Medal of Valor just because it would.
And he's pissed.
Yeah, understandably so. And I can't help but wonder if the title of the episode is in reference to Levitt as it is much in reference to the actual clown in the episode, because where he gets to in this episode is a pretty dark spot compared to where the Levitt of old used to get to, because he's fucking pissed in this episode, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
He is ready to quit the whole shebang.
And I don't blame him.
No, me neither. Me neither. I think he was well within his rights to be that angry. Who is it that's one of them's coming up to this guy, to this Howard Platt, Andrew Landry character, and trying to get himself talked into joining with the New Mexico police force. And he was it Deitrich that's doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Deitrich's in rare form, and probably in all four of these, but especially in the Chinatown episodes, we get a lot of good Deitrich.
Yeah, he's good here. I mean, I also like Barney here. I mean, I like Barney here because Barney knows. I mean, Barney's a smart, and so he knows how to manipulate the situation to his liking, and he does here. I mean, he totally plays everybody in the precinct because he goes, "Hey, see," like he even goes like, "Hey, see," like see, I am pretty good at my job, and I like that. I mean, again, like that, these are the kind of the twilight moments of this show. Really, this is the end of the show. We're in the final moments of the show here with these last several hours of programming, and getting to see Barney really like continue to be the level-headed character that he's always been is, I mean, I appreciate it because it's not that he hasn't grown as a character. It's just he really has been the constant. He is the stalwart of the 12th precinct. He's the guy that all these people look up to. Levitt wants to work up there with them because of Barney. That's why. And because of the camaraderie he feels between all the other people. But it kind of starts with Barney, first and foremost.
Yeah, I think if anybody else was captain, he wouldn't be trying as hard to be part of the group.
Right. But I like that we get to see Barney once again, like using his brain and his ability to talk situations, not talk himself out of a situation, but talk a situation down off of a cliff
He's got a very good brain.
A brain.
And this, to quote Doctor Strange, we are in the end game now. This is, the one thing that we're going to be doing, especially in the fourth one that we're going to talk about. It feels like they're setting us up for kind of a straight ahead path. I'm sure we'll take a few detours as we go along, but it really feels like, okay, we're halfway through this season. Well, we're more than halfway through this season, and we are ready to start to wrap this sucker up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the halfway point right here of the season. Season's 22 episodes long. We've had a couple, two-parters. One of them we're talking about here. And yeah, I mean, the show is in its waning moments, which is, I mean, for me, it's for me, it's sad, but at the same time, like these episodes, I don't know, these episodes in particular, and this one, the clown episode, it does feel a little old hat, but I mean, the show at this point, like, I'm not sure what ground we can be treading that doesn't feel like old hat at this point, really. Like,
Right.
Is that even a complaint anymore? That this feels like old hat? Like, I don't think so.
No, right now we're kind of more comfort food for me. It's like, okay, yeah, I've seen this kind of thing before. I've seen this, particular criminal. This is the same one that was a Wojo was saving and from drowning, and he's been on here. I want to say this is probably his third appearance.
Third
at least.
time. It is his third time. It sure is.
So yeah, and he's back as the same person each time. I'm actually surprised because it feels like we've seen Philip Bruns on here before, because he's got one of those faces, one of those just amazing faces. And I want to say that he's been on here a few times before this as well. But his character, I'm surprised we haven't seen this warden or prison official that just lets all the criminals go. I'm like, okay, of course, we saw him in the Kentucky Rye episode of Twilight Zone 85. And when we talk about Night Court, we should probably start plugging our Night Court show already. When we come back after Barney Miller and talk about Night Court, we'll see him there. Okay, I just looked him up. He's been in 5 episodes over the years, starting in season 3, 5, 7, and 8. So it looks like he's been in a few episodes in, of course, he was in the stellar Wojo's Girl Part 1 and 2, speaking of two-parters.
Oh, speaking of the best episodes of this show.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
Oh, no, said literally no what?
Did you ever notice? You think that was maybe like a pilot for a show? Sorry, I've been reading the Barney Miller Facebook page a lot lately, and I'm just like, really? Okay.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Have you watched it? My world and keep me safe from the trouble and pain. That's all I'm going to say. Because boy, it doesn't, we've been doing this now, you and I, for what? When did we do the Kolchak show? The show that started this show, like what?
Oh boy.
2016?
Yeah, I think so. I was going to say 2017, but you're probably right.
We've seen some fan bases really
have
a fun time with one another. The Barney Miller fan group and the fan base, like, they love the show. They love it unabashed. And at least they get along with each other.
That's true. I'm not seeing a lot of infighting, and I'm definitely not seeing a lot of political stuff popping up over there. So yeah, it seems like a pretty good fan base.
There's no civil war on the Barney Miller Facebook page because, folks, there was a civil war on the Kolchak Facebook page. And no, I'm not kidding.
Who would you recast to be Barney Miller?
Oh my God. Obviously, right now, if you're asking me, it would be Nick Offerman. Duh.
Oh, for me, it would just, we'll go back to the original, man. Why don't we check in with Barney Miller all these years later?
Oh my God. Give me that show. Yes. Son of Barney Miller. Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah.
40 years afterwards.
I know. Let's really piss the fans off. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, what would that be? Yeah. And you got Max Gale and you got Barney, and they're just like, the show opens and they're just standing over Harris's grave, and they're just like, oh, remember Harris? And then
and they would pour a bottle of wine, and then they'd say he'd probably complain about the vintage.
Yeah, right. God, what a show. What a weird show that nobody asked for, but I would totally be there for it, man.
Oh, I know. They'd open up a bottle of wine, and then Wojo would go to decant it, and he'd be like, that's what he would want. Wojo, just pour the wine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Because that's the thing, with this show, now that the cast is set and we're at the end, like every episode does kind of bum me out a little bit, because I know that I know that this is, at one point this was an inkling of an idea that you had, and you were like, who wants to be on the Kolchak thing? And I was like, I'll do it. And now we've been doing this, and now we're almost through our second show, and it's like, man, it's a shame. And I know, it might still happen. We might get to talk to Max Gale and Hal Linden, but these guys have kind of become like part of my life in a way that I never really thought a cop show from the 70s and 80s would. But getting to see someone, good to go back to the episode more specifically, getting to see the way, an idealized way that the police could work, and the way that the police can work, and the humanity. I think Plex, the description of Barney Miller on Plex is something to the effect of like, Barney Miller is the kind of cop you'd love to run into. And it's like, yeah, he is, because he's such a metered and genuine human being. And I'm not saying that there aren't cops out there like that. Far from it. I just haven't had the best interactions with police any more than I think you have, Mike. Like, it's a job like anything else. Let's be honest here. There are terrible podcasters out there. Boy, don't we know that fact to be true now, for fuck's sake. But
you're in one.
But at the end of the day, like the leadership style and skill that Barney has is one of the things I really love about the show. And it's, Hal Linden and Max Gale, guys who are still working, by the way, in 2024 on top of everything else.
Yeah, this one does feel very familiar. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on. I list off so many plots, and then you added in the main story of, the whole thing with Levitt. So it's a whole cavalcade of people coming in and leaving the precinct. This one really does a good job of the thing that we've talked about before, which is everything's in the precinct. We'll talk about an outside of the precinct one very quickly here.
Shockingly.
In the precinct, and you get to hear about all of these crimes. You hear about the guys who were, taking over the restaurant, and cutting in line and destroying stuff. You hear about the crimes against the clown, as well as the other clown and the one that had the dog. And so you hear about these guys, like Mr. Sprinkles or whatever it is. And it's just like, okay, so we hear about all of these things outside of the precinct. And we've talked about, oh, geez, is it too limiting to just be in the precinct? No, I think they do a fantastic job here, really painting the world outside of the four walls of, well, more than four walls, but many walls of the 12th precinct.
And I completely agree with you. And like you said, with the next episode, I'm always shocked with this show when we get outside of the precinct, because everything has felt so self-contained for so long. And I'm not complaining about it. It's far from a bad thing. I mean, at this point with a show like Barney Miller, this is kind of, this is the coffee house of the Friends thing. But like Friends, it'd be like if Friends never left the coffee house, which is like a fucking strange concept. Like, they don't make shows like this anymore. Literally. Right? Like the kind of shows that are made like this now are what? Like, is anything shot in front of a live studio audience anymore? Other than like the Drew Barrymore show, or like, no, I don't think anything's filmed in front. I mean, Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men definitely weren't. Like, they don't make stuff like this anymore. So it's bizarre. Like, some of the stuff is just bizarre to me to think about. But like, yeah, like this show, it's always been about the precinct, never leaving. And that's how you can do a single location show. I will say I've been constantly impressed by how far Barney Miller has gotten with just being in the precinct. I don't know about you, but man, they've really taken it to about the limit, I think, at this point. I mean, I think we're almost at the limit now, given where we're going to be headed with the next two episodes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still surprised we've never seen the first floor of the precinct. Still.
Yeah, just the outside, just when Barney was coming in and talking with those other officers. And we don't get that anymore. Yeah.
I love that freeze frame of him just,
we've talked every single time we have a two-parter, we're like, is this really necessary? And some of them, we mentioned Wojo's Girl, not really necessary. Chinatown Part 1 and Part 2, I'm not sure if this was a necessary one or not. It feels like they could have, I don't know, maybe it just was me, but it felt like both of these episodes went really quickly. And it really felt like they could have taken the Part 2 and added it to Part 1 and just made this whole thing a half an hour.
I totally agree. And I think for me, yeah, every time, like you said, every time we do these two-parters, that is kind of my big question. And I know it's your question as well, is like, are we getting a story that needs fucking 40 minutes of time? No, we don't check in with them enough in the main storyline. So the main storyline is there's a witness to a crime in Chinatown who doesn't want to talk because I'm assuming triads. I mean, they never explain it as much as it's just like hinted that there's some sort of outside interference that could have something negative that could happen to the witness. So I almost said Steve Landisberg, Deitrich and Harris are tasked with going essentially and sitting with this guy in a room until he testifies. That is a pretty good setup. However, the episode doesn't go back to them enough. It's like it forgets about them after they leave at the end of the first episode.
Yeah. And even just the premise of them, like I like that they take this guy off, off prem and put him in this apartment / hotel room, but it feels more like they're babysitting a witness rather than trying to get testimony out of this guy. The way that they're holding him against his will in this, it just doesn't feel.
See,
right
I even
misunderstood.
I must even understood it because I thought that they were holding him as a witness, but you're right. No, they are trying to get his testimony, which is super fucking strange.
Right. Oh yeah. It's so bizarre that that's what they're going for. I'm like, oh, okay. Like when they go back to him, they're just like, okay, we're going to go through this again. And we're going to do and keep talking about this. I'm like, you guys never got that confession out of him, or not confession, but the naming names. No, they didn't. They're supposed to be with him for a month in this place.
Yeah.
And they say in the episode a little over a week. And man, oh man, do things go downhill quickly for a little over a week.
Yeah, Harris and I feel like this whole episode existed so we could get the gag of Harris coming out with his hair all grown out.
Oh my
disheveled.
God. Yes.
That's it, right?
Amazingly bad. Yes, I love it.
That feels like it was the sole reason behind this episode was that, right?
That's what it feels like. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a strange one for me because really when I think about the first part of the Chinatown episode, so I watched it last night and I am hard pressed to remember a lot of stuff that was going on in it. So there's, the story about Mr. Ling, who is the person who worked at the restaurant. I think he's a waiter and witnessed this killing go down in the restaurant. And he doesn't want to name names because he's afraid of retribution. Then you've got Miss Caroline Fitzjames, who's played by Joanna Barnes, beautiful, elegant, older lady who, now what's her crime against her?
I don't remember what her crime
Oh
is.
boy. I mean, she didn't commit a crime, I should say.
No, she's just in the precinct.
She's a victim, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't remember why she's there either.
It's like what's so weird is like this episode, it's almost like this episode is missing 5 minutes at the beginning because we have Barney coming in and Mr. Ling is already there.
Right.
He's already there and they're like, "Hey, we got this thing going on." And it's like, "Whoa. Like we're off to a hot start already here." Like the episode just picks up, and I'm not saying that Barney Miller is a show that, takes its time. It doesn't. It's a 25-minute episode, 25-minute long show, but yeah, this episode just goes. And I, again, with the Mr. Ling stuff, I'm not super interested in it. And then when we have Detective Scanlon come in for I think that this might be up there for me. Like Wojo's Girl was a bad two-parter. This is an unnecessary is what this is.
Yeah, exactly. Because only a little bit of time needs to pass between the two episodes because it really feels like it's like they go to at the very end of the first part, they're like, okay, we're going to go to this hotel or apartment, and that's where we'll be. And then when we rejoin, they are literally opening up the door for the very first time because they're like, oh, didn't this place come with lights? But then when you go back to the precinct, I don't know how much time passes before she comes back and says, hey, Lieutenant Scanlon is bothering me. He's stopping by my house, like he's stalking her. And you get to see just how awful. I mean, we already knew Scanlon was awful, but he's only usually awful to Barney and the guys in the precinct. But here, because he shows up and he's just like, "Oh ho ho, Wojo, hey, like this suit was filed against you for this for getting this woman pregnant." Basically, they're just to humiliate Wojo and make him say that he's sterile. That's the only reason he's there.
And he even admits so. He goes like,
yes.
I just wanted to hear you say it.
I know.
What the fuck? Like, yeah, he is. I mean, I will say I like Scanlon for the villain that he is in the show because he is a welcome kind of presence as a reoccurring villain. And George Murdoch's great. I actually kind of wish he was in the show more, frankly.
Good. Yeah.
Again, because we've seen him a handful of times, but he's one of those characters where he is so just unlikable that you can't help but just be like, ugh, I hate him and I can't wait for him to get his comeuppance. And I guess this is the last time we're going to see him.
I mean, he makes that threat, It feels like we're going to see him in the final episode. At least that's what I hope.
Maybe, right? Like,
yeah.
It's weird because, by the end of this two-part episode, like he's in a really kind of like bad spot. I mean, Barney essentially decides to save his ass by not doing anything and not reporting him to internal affairs, which he totally
own department.
His own department, which he totally deserves, but he doesn't do it. So
yeah, total creep. And then when Barney says like, hey, we had that, because he fucking freaks out. Scanlon, like it's almost like a Fred Flintstone. When Fred Flintstone would stub his toe or something, he'd start doing that whole line of words that sound like swear words but aren't, the whole rabble, and he like basically does that in Barney's office. He's just freaking the fuck out. And then Barney's, of course, he's like, well, hey, what you said in that office stays in the office. And he's just like, I despise you. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like what a reaction. But I mean, also telling us how he really feels.
Yeah, he's a great villain. I mean,
he is a great villain. And he really kind of replaced Luger in that villain role.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's because James Gregory is just too lovable to really be that forever. I don't know. Detective Scanlon comes back one more time. That is it. He comes back at the end of the 3-parter that ends the series. And that's it.
When I think of James Gregory in this, I had to like pick up a magazine. This is just doing like smacking his hand with a paper. And I don't know if it's like the racing form or what he's got in his hand, but he's always always seems to have that. And it's like his prop when he comes in. It's like between that and the hat,
And don't you just love how racist Detective Scanlon is?
Oh my God.
Hey Harris, how are things down in Funky Town?
Oh God. Yeah.
God, he hits him back with it at least. So
yeah, I'm surprised he didn't like Ching Chong Ching, Mr. Ling.
I know, right? God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I will say though, in terms of Scanlon getting his comeuppance, I do appreciate that we finally get to see him kind of taken down a peg or two. But man, Leonard Stone, violent. You're turning violent. He's just. I love him as an actor. He plays Harried so fantastically. Like he's just, I don't know. I obviously love him in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka. No, it is. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, Tim Burton, for making it so we have to distinguish them from one another now.
I think I think Burton's was the book title, and that the other one was they changed it because of having I think they wanted to put Charlie front and center, but really, I mean, who steals the show in that
right? Well, yeah. Well, yes, Leonard Stone as Violet Beauregard's father in Willy Wonka is so good at playing that harried kind of just put upon father. And then here, when he's like, I am a Rotarian, they're like, I'm a Capricorn. Nobody cares. Like, I love him just screaming and yelling and getting into it with the IRS guy. And Wild West waffles? Really? You thought that was a good idea? What the hell?
Yeah. That whole thing of the IRS and the guy that plays the IRS agent. agent. We've seen him before, and he's fucking fantastic. And just him like, yeah, well, we locked up his whole store, took everything, he didn't make those payment plans. And, like Barney trying to talk sense into an IRS agent is talking to a wall.
Just like Private Slovak, maybe. That's what it reminded me of. It's like, look at how bureaucratic the government is. You are just a number. They do not care. Have a nice day. Fuck you. Like, and I mean, that happens here in this episode, the exact same thing. In this two-parter, like, we see that exact same thing. And the IRS shows up. Leonard Stone is like, that's my store. He's like, I don't care. It's ours now. Fuck you. Doesn't matter. It's like, man, fucking the government. And that's the thing. I mean, Scanlon is kind of the stand-in for the government, right? Like, he's, in internal affairs. So, he's kind of the stand-in for the governing body for the police. So, but yeah, when he comes to Wojo at Wojo's desk, man, what an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's one of the, like, the most, like, not angering moments in the show, but him just, like, going for the gusto. I don't get it. It kind of comes out of nowhere, but I don't know why he's, like, so hot to trot to get Wojo to say he's sterile. Like, I don't... Like, what? For what reason?
Just to humiliate the guy. Yeah.
I don't know why, though. He's never had an issue with Wojo, though. It's never really been Wojo that he's had a problem with. It's been more Barney than anything else. Barney's always the one who has his goat. Like, Barney always has his goat. I don't get it. Like, I don't know why he has such a bone to pick with Wojciechowicz. I guess it's just the 12th precinct broadly is probably what it is.
Yeah, I don't think he likes anybody that's in that bullpen.
No, for sure. But yeah, I don't know what, like, he just comes in so hot at Wojciechowicz. Just like, what are you doing? I'm like, what is I don't understand the point, I guess. Cause again, like, he's so amiable with Harris, even though he's doing the Funky Town line. But yeah, it's so weird, but it makes you just hate the guy that much more that he just comes in so hot after Wojciechowicz, especially again, Wojciechowicz is, I mean, him and Harris and Barney are kind of the pillars that hold the show up. I mean, so is Steve Landisberg, but those three have been here since the beginning. So you don't want to see one of the three main characters have one of the villainous characters showing up out of nowhere and just going after him. It's very strange.
Yeah. I remembered what the woman is there for. She's there because she was at her furrier and somebody snatched a brooch or a necklace off of her neck. Yes, a brooch. I can make a brooch, a pterodactyl. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Wojciechowicz is like asking her all these questions. She's like, what do you do? I sleep around. We sleep around. That's all we do. It's just like, all right, the socialites, all right. And I love that this is like early 80s too, because it's right at kind of the beginning of this starting to be a real thing in New York City with these kind of yuppies. She's old money, though, it would seem, given, the Scanlon of it all. But, coming from your furrier, really?
She is a classy broad.
Yeah, right. I guess so.
Yeah, and then part two, like I said, we start kind of, with the whole hotel room. Only 2 beds? I guess they sleep in shifts. Is that what they're doing here?
Supposedly, yeah. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. And then, the whole thing of, it's like we finally get to see when Harris and Deitrich were living together, because they had that whole story arc that we just heard about it, of course, like we were talking about with the previous episode with the clown, but we never got to see it. And here we get to see that dynamic and Deitrich playing his clarinet, and
I'm naked.
I'm sorry. It is a hotel, because I forgot at the beginning it says hot in the window over and over again. I was kind of hoping they would complain about that light that just is shining in the window the entire time. I mean, I thought it was a shittier place, but I don't know if it's the 2024 talking, but I'm just like, yeah, no, this looks kind of like a nice place. Pretty big living room here. Nice big bedroom as well. So I didn't think it was nearly as bad as they make it out to be.
No, I didn't either. I do like Landisberg just being like, I'm naked, and Harris was like, oh, come on. Like, I do think that the better spin-off version of this show would have been Harris and Deitrich together. Like, talk about an odd couple. And, I think they respect one another immensely, but I don't think that they know how to interact with each other, which is the funny part.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I like that they have that respect, that grudging respect. But yeah, they are working on two completely different planes. I love when Harris is about to storm out of the apartment and they're like, and he goes, wearing that? And then he immediately comes back in because he's just like, I can't go out in public wearing this awful outfit. He has to look so much better.
That's right. It's Harris. He's got an image to hold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just I don't think, it's not that I don't think this episode justifies its existence. I just don't think this story needed 2 episodes. Like the stakes of the story never reach what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, because really, like, they could have just taken out the people that they put in the cage. The Leonard Stone, though I love him, could have taken him out, and just not had that storyline. There's a guy there's multiple guys hanging in the cage in the second part of this, and we never get their story. They're just, 2 actors just hanging around, an old guy with a big old beard and another guy who's just doing the typical hanging out to the bars of the cage thing. I don't think they talk with them at all. We never hear about them. So I'm like, all right, how easy would that have been to just leave them in there in the first part too?
Phil Diskin playing Gillis, otherwise known as Man in Jail Cell. Yeah,
Right.
doesn't get a single line at all.
Guy.
Yeah, it's again, like that's why I say this about this 2-parter is the second part of the 2-parter should have just been the first part. That should have just been the whole first part of the 2-parter is just that. Just them going to the room and driving each other crazy. Because, you know what? Perfect. Like, that stuff works fine. Like, that stuff works great. Everything else kind of seems, and by kind of seems, I mean is thoroughly unnecessary. Yeah. And the Joanna Barnes stuff is fine, but to what end is my question. Like, to what end? And I don't know to what end, frankly, because Scanlon is now gone, quote unquote. I mean, there's 8 episodes before the end of the show at this point. So he'll come back in the last episode. So maybe they'll bring that back up the next time they see him. But you could have gotten away with a 1-parter of this with the Scanlon stuff and the Chinatown stuff, and that's it. And I don't think you would have needed anything else. And
they could have started the episode with them opening up the door and like, I can't believe we're on this assignment. I can't believe we had to get this guy. I mean, that's how easy it is.
Explain it there in the room. You don't have to explain why we get there. Like it's I don't know. We've talked about this before. You've already mentioned it. I will, reinforce it and reiterate it. I am having a hard time finding any 2-parters in this show that have really justified their existence.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's a function of what the kind of show is. Like,
the TV show Star Trek: The Next Generation.
That's an old show. Come on, old guy. Come on.
All right. They would do 2-parters, 1 part at the end of the season, and the next part as the beginning of the season. And that some were stronger than others. Of course, Best of Both Worlds is one of the best ones ever. But then you get some of the other ones.
Of any 2-parters of any show ever, frankly.
Exactly. That's where you need a 2-parter. And then some of them I was just like, okay, all right, Spock looks like he's in trouble here. And I know, he was a legacy character, but when he was working to make peace with the Romulans and stuff, it was just like, okay, this works. It's not fantastic. When you start with Best of Both Worlds, it's hard to go up from there.
Right.
But maybe if they did 2-parters for season finales, but maybe they didn't have the knowledge that they were going to continue on. I don't know. Like, none of these, when we end the last season, this season, we are going to know that we're ending.
Right.
But with the other ones, the previous ones, like season 7, that ended kind of with the cliffhanger with the whole lawsuit stuff. And I was just like, okay, are we ever going to get back to that? And then they finally make a reference to the lawsuit in the next episode, the last one we're going to talk about today, Hunger Strike, because that's where we get kind of a crisis of faith of Barney, and Harris is right there with him. Like, hey man, I was going through some bad stuff too. I've got writer's block. I've got, I had the lawsuit, and I was just like, oh, we're finally going to acknowledge that this season. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad that they acknowledged it because that was a thing that, like, last season we talked about it so much, and the season before it we talked about it so much, and they kind of forgot about it. That's what it feels like. Like, and I don't understand why, really.
Yeah. This one, the final one we're going to talk about today, Hunger Strike. I really like this. And I was, before you even brought it up when we were talking about the clown episode, I was just like, okay, we're in the end game now, because it really feels like this is the one that's setting us up, because we've got the whole exam thing and a chance for a promotion for Barney. But then what I really like is when he's like, I don't know, I'm not going to do it. You know, I've tried it before and it doesn't work and blah, blah, blah. And then I like all the guys in the precinct going, you know what? If you don't move up, we don't move up. You're holding us down. I'm like, whoa, okay. And I know that's a little bit of a psychological, tack that they're doing once they kind of figure out that this is going to, at least in my opinion, and please tell me if you have a different opinion, but it feels like once they realize that that's the chink in his armor, is that he so wants to help out every fucking other person that when they make it seem like he's being selfish by doing this, it's like his Achilles heel.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Barney Miller is it's the age-old question of who comforts the person who comforts everybody else, right? Like,
yeah.
Barney is the kind of person and the kind of character who stands on his morals to the end, I guess. Like, and yeah, I like that they have to have this like, no, you need to do this. What the fuck? Like, I love that they have that moment with him because he needed it. Like, he needed it, and the show needs it because, look, this isn't The Simpsons. This hasn't been running for 38 years or whatever The Simpsons is at now. I guess 34, whatever the fuck it is. There needs to be a reasonable reason why things haven't changed. And now the show has backed itself into a corner and it's like, no, we're actually going to embrace some of it and allow things to maybe change. And it's like, whoa, 6 episodes left though? But that's, you know what they say, better late, as Cheech Marin says in Ghostbusters 2, better late than never, I guess. So, I don't know. I'm glad that we're finally revisiting it. But like you said, kind of surprised that we're back here again. But that guy doesn't want to eat, Mike.
Yeah. Larry Gelman back in the precinct as a different character. Fucking love Larry Gelman, man. I love that his IMDb pictures him in this giant heart costume with just that little goofy face sticking out. And he just plays anger so well. He gets so upset about things. You're talking about Leonard Stone doing a great job with that. I think he's right up there with Gelman with the way that he gets unhinged. And he's got that great list of demands. He wants to get rid of nuclear weapons in Europe, and they're talking all about mutual armed destruction. And also he wants his cleaning deposit back because goddamn, he left that apartment clean.
And hey, speaking of, I don't know if it was intentional, but speaking of Star Trek The Next Generation, Stanley Kaczynski, baby. That's like the 5th episode of that great first season of Star Trek The Next Generation that everybody loves so much. I don't know. Everybody loves it so much, and yet everybody always tells me to skip it. I don't understand.
Yeah, they really fell off after about midway through the 2nd season. They just never recovered.
He's great too. I mean, I actually think this is a great episode of Barney Miller, and I think it's a great episode because the paranoid with proof character is Larry Gelman, which is great, and then we actually have a storyline with Barney, and it feels like the storylines with Barney really are the ones that I care about at this point. Like, give the guy his own season one more time so that we can, walk out on a high note. I will point out, because those of you who have been listening this whole time and you know who you are, they mentioned Barbara Barry's character in this episode. It was so fucking crazy. I was like, no, don't do it. We're not going to get to see her, but you can mention her, I guess. Like, fine. Cheat just a little bit. What's Mrs. Miller up to right now? Oh, she's just hanging out. Like,
doesn't she come back in the finale?
Maybe she does. I feel like at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she did or didn't, because this show has handled her character so poorly that I wouldn't put it past this show if she wasn't coming back. But I guess it would make sense if she did. I kind of want to just be surprised.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to look it up now.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to know, but I guess we'll find. I mean, I did look it up. I won't tell you if you don't want to know.
Let's leave it a surprise.
Yeah, let's leave it a surprise. Oh, it's funny when they mention her on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, what's she up to in another show? Like,
Yeah, the spin-off Mrs. Miller that we never got to see.
yeah, starring
Yeah.
Kate Mulgrew.
Yes. The Cop's Wife, starring Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah, pretty
Kate
much.
loves the mystery. Yes.
Yeah, good God in heaven. Well, I mean, again, similarly to our Columbo show, at least when Columbo does it, and I would totally advocate if you're a fan of this show to listen to our Columbo show, The Shabby Detective, not The Shaggy Detective.
Or the Shaggy DA.
Or The Shaggy Dog starring Robert Downey Jr. Yes, that's a real thing. With Columbo, I never believe he has a family. I know he does only because the show has a show called Mrs. Columbo where his wife actually existed, but I never really believe it. They're used as like a device for him to catch criminal. We know that Mrs. Miller is a real person. We actually saw Barney has children.
Yeah.
I think they mention the children in this episode, don't they? Doesn't Levitt say, like, how are the Millers? Like, how are... somebody says something about, like, his family even in this episode. It's strange because the issue we have with Wojo's girl, which comes up all the time now, is not that we don't care about their lives outside of the precinct, but that's not the point of this show. That's a different kind of show. That's a show, that's a more modern take on this kind of show. When I said earlier they don't make these kinds of shows anymore, it's because if you were to do a show about a profession, most of the show would take place, I guess, at the profession. But even shows like that now don't do that. I mean, like Grey's Anatomy and all these things, they're going all sorts of places. Like I saw a preview for Grey's Anatomy for the 30th season of that show. And I was like, is this a hospital show at this point? They're like, we have to go to the convenience store to get ice. And then there's a robbery at the convenience store. Like, what the fuck show is this? This is not what I was expecting. And Barney Miller is so specifically this kind of thing that, yeah, to mention his outside life or Wojo's girl, it's like, no, just... Yeah. It's so kind of pure in its purpose that we don't need anything like that, which is almost why Chinatown hurts even more because it takes up space in a season where these kinds of episodes are so fucking good. Because this episode, when you actually are talking about long-term payoff storylines from this show, which is Barney getting a promotion finally, that is something that we've kind of been waiting on since season 1. For real. Like, and now we're here, and instead of getting more episodes like this one, we got Chinatown, which does nothing and just kind of feels like, you know, we're going to have fun right before we actually have a real conversation. It's like, can we get to the real stuff? Maybe even just a little quicker?
This episode, Hunger Strike, won the Writers Guild Award for episodic comedy, which I feel is very appropriate because it's the most solid one that we've talked about. It is so about the guys in the precinct rather than the extra stuff. Like the Gelman stuff, it's a good diversion. The stuff with the psych patient, I think that's really well done. I really like how they solve that. And I like that, you know, we talked about Wojo and how he's the crusader. And in this one, it's really Deitrich that's the crusader who goes out and finds the Joseph Abrakian is the character name, finds him and brings him in, and it seems like it's not going to work, that he doesn't, can't communicate with this woman, and then they finally have this connection. Yeah, she's not all there, but like that Stanley Camel was not going to investigate and didn't do his due diligence and just thought this woman was pure crazy. I mean, thank God he kind of cleaned up his act before he ended up having Adrian Monk as his patient all those years.
I know, right? That's the other thing I think of when I think of Larry Gelman.
Yes. Oh, he's so good.
He's great. I mean, look, again, like you said, we didn't need him in this episode, but he's a welcome addition. I think this is one of the better episodes we've seen this season, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like I said, it's setting us up for everything that's about to come, I think. So I'm sure, again, we'll have distractions, but I mean, moments in this, like when Harris is having that conversation with Barney, I mean, it feels like he's really bonding. And I love how he's giving him the massage.
Yeah. It's like, what is going on here?
It's so good. The way he's looking off into space, just like contemplating his own future while he's talking with Barney. I'm just like, oh, that's so nice. And then, yeah, just the way that they're just like, Barney, you're keeping us down here. So good. Solid fucking episode.
Yeah. And again, like it makes those two-parters really kind of stick out that much more because you can get so much done in a 25-minute episode that you don't need 2 episodes to do. Like this, if anything, you could have gotten 2 episodes out of this storyline. Like, I don't know, it feels like they were just like, we just want to have a name of an episode of this show called Chinatown because that's a thing that people associate with cops. It's like,
even though that was like 6 years prior or more than that. So, yeah.
Fucking early 80s already, guys. Come on. Like, the ship has sailed on that reference.
And frankly, like we've kind of posited where is the 12th precinct. And I don't usually think of Chinatown when I think of where the 12th precinct is, because like you said, the 2 Asian actors that we have in here are 2 of the few Asian actors that we've ever had on the show. I always picture it being, because they talk about how they arrested Gelman at Washington Square Park. I always think of it being more in like the West Village than, because I'm trying to remember exactly where Chinatown is in New York, but I want to say for me, the 12th precinct is farther west and it's kind of out of their jurisdiction to go into Chinatown. But I'm sure resources are tight and they're going to have to do whatever they need to do. And this feels like a favor for the DA as well, who we never hear about the DA. So that was kind of an interesting call as well.
And I am still surprised we didn't get a forget it, Barney, it's Chinatown line.
I know. I so wanted, and it would have been the perfect way to end this because they bring in the other guy, the cook this time. And he's just like, I didn't see anything. Having Deitrich or Harris say
it would have to be Deitrich. It would almost have to be Deitrich. Yeah. Well, and there was the moment in the Hunger Strike episode where the woman talks to Deitrich, and like I half expected her to whatever she said to him to be something along the lines again, once again referring back to him being a fucking alien. I was half expecting it. I was like, oh God, why is she talking directly to Deitrich? What's the reasoning here? So
but that was so touching though, when you find out that all she kept saying was, it's a lovely day. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah. And I like her interactions with Harris, with the flowers. This is a great, I mean, again, like there are some really great episodes of this show that are just self-contained little moments of the show. And this is one of them. Like, yes, it traffics in some of the stuff that I guess you'd need to have seen other episodes of this show to understand some of the stuff with Barney specifically. But no, I really like this episode. And there's also a great interaction between Harris and Levitt in this episode.
Yeah.
Come along, little Levitt. And he's like fucking mocking him. He's like, I'm going to forget that.
I'm going to forget that. I'm going to forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Richard Haddam is listening, and I know he's probably smirking because he brings it up every time we have him on that he was going to be right about Levitt in the end, and he was. Levitt has endeared himself. And look, when he sticks up for himself early on in the first episode that we were talking about, like, it feels earned at that moment. And you as the audience and the rest of the precinct are on his side, even if Barney's kind of orchestrating it a little bit. But like, again, like, I don't know. I'm on board with where this show is going. And the first and the last episode we talked about are great. The 2-parter, once again, kind of, I don't know, 2-parters in this show, not really the best.
Kryptonite.
Yeah. Well, when one of the worst hours of television on this show's behalf is Wojo's Girl, and that's a 2-part episode, I would be inclined to agree with you. It might be this show's kryptonite. Now, 3-part episode. Oh boy, that remains to be seen. Oh my God, 3-part episode. My God. And I wanted to mention, to your point though about the 2-part episode thing, one of my favorite shows, the vintage television show, The X-Files, they would do the same thing with 2-parters a lot of the times. Like, they would use them as cliffhangers. And it is weird that they're being used as this kind of storytelling device, because sitcoms and 2-part episodes, just like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't mix in my mind. But, maybe I just expect that more from narratively driven television.
I want to say that it was fairly common in when I was growing up. I mean, especially I think about like Happy Days and the Jumping the Shark episode. I want to say might have been a two-parter, but it feels like there were a couple cliffhangers on Happy Days, which is kind of my frame of reference for all life itself.
Well, Sunday and Monday were happy days.
Exactly.
Tuesday and Wednesday were happy days.
All of them. Yeah.
What a day. Every day. God, I love American style, folks. If anybody ever asks you where Happy Days was an offshoot from, it's love American style. It might even win you a trivia question at your local trivia night. So there you go. You're welcome. That show's two-part episodes. Best I can remember from Happy Days. I think you're right. I think the Jump the Shark thing is a two-part episode. Yeah, I don't even know if two-part episodes within the season of a show are a thing that I'm down with. Again, I know why they're like that when they're being made now at this time, like when Barney Miller is coming out. But in this day and age, in current modern television, that's not really a thing the way it used to be. Like Game of Thrones didn't really have two-part episodes. You have like a cliffhanger at the end of the season, but I guess you could call that a two-part episode. Like it's so weird now. The conventions of storytelling, especially with television, have changed so dramatically in terms of the expectations of the audiences that having a two-part episode in the middle of a season of a show would be a little weird now. And the fact that it wasn't, in the 70s and 80s is kind of strange because, again, when you would ask someone what kind of show would a two-part episode be, and I doubt they would say a sitcom with cops. And the show has had plenty on top of everything else.
I remember when I would watch television in the 70s and 80s, and every once in a while I'd be like, it's about time for them to wrap up. Like, what's going on? And then it would be like, to be continued. Like, oh, okay. I just was looking up Happy Days episodes. There were tons of two-parters. Once they get into like season 5, it's like two-parter. I'm like, really? Hollywood part 2, Hollywood part 3, Fonzie and Leather Tuscadero part 1, Fonzie the rock entrepreneur part 1. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys. This is wild.
And I mean, now we have the ability to tell 1 hour long TV shows, so we don't even need the two-parter. I mean, that's, a TV show like This Is Us, right? Like a show that is broadly about a family and generational and the generations of a family. That's an hour-long TV show. However, Modern Family, a television show also about generational family members, is only 30 minutes. Maybe they have two-part episodes on that show. I'm sure that they do, but the expectations are different. And I don't know, like with Barney Miller, I've never been able to see the need for it because they've never justified it. I think, wasn't Barney's in Jail a two-part episode? Was that a two-parter?
It was.
That might be the only one where I'm like, I could see that because of the stakes of that, but come on, we all know Barney's not going to jail.
And they make a reference to that in this one. They're like, well, it's been a while since you've been in jail.
I know, which is also fantastic.
Season 10 of Happy Days, first episode, title, A Woman Not Under the Influence.
Stunning.
Can you imagine they're making a Cassavetes reference on here? I love it.
Well, they're making a Polanski reference in this show, so
yeah.
I mean, I gotta assume that's what it's in reference to, right? Even if it is 6 or 4 years on or whatever it is.
Yeah, man, oh man. I mean, we mentioned Jumping the Shark, and it looks like Happy Days went on for at least 10 seasons. That was probably 3 or 4 seasons too much. I mean, once Richie left the show, it was just like, really? When we started adding those other characters, I almost would be curious because that Woman Not Under the Influence episode, September 28th, 1982, it's like almost parallel with what we're talking about with these episodes.
I can't even believe Happy Days was on that long. Like,
yeah.
And that was another thing I was curious, because again, as we come towards the end of the show, do you feel like Barney has outstayed its welcome?
No.
Me either.
I think
at all.
A couple times like where we've said, okay, yeah, like even when we talked about The Climb, we're like, yeah, it's a fairly typical episode, but it's still a good episode. I still laughed quite a few times.
Yeah, it's still it's still worthy of a watch. But yeah, then you get to the two-parters and it's like, maybe not so much. Maybe skip those. Maybe check. I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, when you have an episode 22 in a season with 21 other episodes, like that's just shit. That's not even a thing anymore. Like there are few shows like that anymore. It's really a specific kind of show that has that many episodes. It's literally only sitcoms now. Like everything else is pretty much like what, 8 to 15, if that. Like most narrative TV shows. I mean, you talked about Star Trek. I mentioned the X-Files. Those are hour-long shows that had 25 long episode seasons. Like that's fucking wild to me. Like you can't binge watch that shit. There's like, I don't know, 10 episodes a season, 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. So it's like 80 episodes. X-Files hit that in like 4 seasons, and there's 6 more. Like it's just not, it's so different now that it's hard to compare it. But yeah, everything about the way TV shows are made is so drastically different compared to what we're watching with Barney Miller. But when they hit those like still contemporary conventions, the show justifies its existence through the level of comedy and the way that they treat the characters. But I also think the fact that we do get some contemporary storytelling devices does help this show kind of have some staying power, as it were.
I totally agree. I'm really excited to come back next month and talk with you about the next 3 episodes that we're going to cover, because the first one has me very intrigued. It's called Arrival, and it's going to be when Luger's mail order bride arrives. What the hell is that going to be like?
Boy, I can't wait to find out.
Oh boy. So that's going to be Arrival, Obituary, and Inquiry, which are the next 3 episodes of Barney Miller that we're going to talk about here on The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller. Until then, Chris, what are you working on these days?
Audio diversions over at weirdingwaymedia.com. That's where you can find this show and so many other things that I work on. The year of 2024 has been a trying one for me, and my output has not been what I would like for it to be, but my hope is that 2025 will be a better year with more output, because I'm known for being a workhorse, and this horse has not been working as hard as he normally does. But hit me harder. I'm careful. I might like, yeah, you can find everything I work on at weirdingwaymedia.com. And if you are a fan of what we do and you want to help us out financially, patreon.com/projection booth, or patreon.com/Father Malone, or patreon.com/culturecast are ways you can help us out financially. And hey, if you can't like, rate, and review the show where you get it, which should be iTunes. If it isn't, go to iTunes and like, rate, and review the show, please, because it helps us. And you know what? Don't just do it for us. Do it for all the content creators that you watch, because you know what? That's how we find more people, and it costs you nothing. And we immensely appreciate it. What about you, Mike?
Do it for Johnny.
Do it for the Gipper. Do it for, this one's for John, as I like to say.
I didn't think I was going to be making a Julie Brown reference tonight, but I did. So there is that. Yeah, same thing. All the links that Chris just listed out, definitely check those out, please. And yeah, rate and review the show wherever you get it. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much to John Walker for creating our theme song. Really appreciate that. And thanks to everybody for listening. We appreciate you as well.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, Who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us. That's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.